Hey everyone, it's Derek here with another video, and today we are looking at the 2011 Chevy Volt. Now, taking a look at the outside of this car, it's quite interesting. It's kind of like a mixture of a Prius and a Tesla Model X. The exterior is not the greatest thing to look at, but it definitely looks like it's a car built for fuel efficiency and aerodynamics. Also, the coefficient of drag is 0.29. The Chevy Volt is powered by a 1.4-liter four-cylinder engine. This outputs 150 horsepower and 370 pound-foot of torque. The Chevy Volt is interestingly classified as an extended range electric vehicle and has a 16 kilowatt hour battery. And this is a similar battery to batteries that are in laptops and in cell phones. Speaking of that battery, I was not able to test the range that it has, but what I've read, it gets from 25 miles to about 50 miles on electric only. However, there have been many ranges from that, and plus it is also a battery that loses juice after many years of use. And this car specifically has around 98,000 miles on it. Let's talk about the charge time of this actual battery. Now, taking a 140 volt system, it would take the car to charge about 10 hours versus the 19 hours of a Nissan Leaf. If you upgrade to a 240 volt system, that'll bring that charge down to 4 hours of charge time. So let's talk more about the performance of the Chevy Volt. 0 to 60 happens in 9.2 seconds and the car has a top speed of 101 miles per hour. Now the car weighs 3,755 pounds, so it's definitely not a lightweight by any means. The steering is meh, it handles itself around corners, but the tires that the car is on and the weight is quite evident. If you haven't seen my BMW 5 Series review, it's very similar to how that feels, and that's not giving BMW any compliments, and it's definitely not giving the Chevy Volt any compliments. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, Derek, you're an idiot because obviously it's a Chevy Volt and it's more about fuel economy. That is very true. It does do some things very, very nice. The interior cabin noise is very low, as well as the comfort of the actual interior is really nice as well. One of my huge gripes with this car is actually the range. It has a 9.3 gallon tank. If you don't get to recharge the battery, you don't get that much range anymore. So that to me is a huge issue, especially if you're on a road trip or if you're traveling or if you don't have anything to plug into. Within the hatch, there's a decent amount of room, and there's a hidden charger there as well underneath the mat that is provided. The rear seats are comfy, however, they removed the middle seat, which is pretty dumb, and I believe it's because of the battery and the transmission as well. Looking at the actual mat pockets, there's a decent amount of room for storage. However, the rear seat legroom is not that great. To say the least, they definitely over-designed the interior here with some plastic bits. I swear, Chevy uses the same steering wheel for all of its cars. And the plastic here in the center console is interesting. It's kind of very shiny and reflects light into your eyes kind of poorly. Center console is fairly deep to store your cell phone or any chargers that you might have. Rear visibility is really not that great. As you can see, it's sort of split between a large window and a smaller window at the bottom, and it leaves it a little bit difficult to see out of. The Volt comes with an auto-dimming rearview mirror, and in the center console there's also a sunglasses holder, which is nice, that has an AC adapter as well. The gauges on the Volt are pretty cool. It gives you all the information that you could want in the gauge cluster. So a cool and annoying feature is that this car has parking sensors. However, the sensors are a little bit too sensitive, and whenever you get a little bit close to something, it starts beeping and it's super annoying. I still can't believe there's no middle seat. Legroom in the car is not too bad. I have about 2 inches sitting behind myself. However, the footwells are very, very not great. I basically feel like I'm strapped in the entire time. Also, the headroom for a hatch really isn't that great. I was hoping, since there was no sloping roof, that I would have a little bit more headroom. Wheel package looks pretty nice. Tires, as I mentioned, not the greatest, and the brakes are just horrendous on this car. no feel whatsoever, and it's unpredictable when it'll stop. So, final thoughts on this car. Touch capacitive, I think this is probably the first iteration of this, and it's quite laggy. Not the greatest to my knowledge. I haven't used the Cadillac one yet, but it's not good on this implementation in the Chevy. Also, this car comes with a Bose sound system, which is great for the hard drive that it has, the 30 gigabyte hard drive that is on this system. And the music that comes out of that is pretty good. However, the music that comes out of the radio is not the greatest. And talking about the actual cabin, it's nice to drive, it's quiet, it's not fun to drive, but like I said, it's a fuel economy car. And the people that really will buy this car are people that commute, around 30 to 40 miles a day, and they'll just recharge and essentially never pay for gas. Downside to that is worrying about, filling up gas or gas going bad in your car, and then the car running poorly from the bad gas. That's always a huge concern, but for a car that cost $41,000, $33,500 with the tax break, and for a car that's $33,500, there's so many other cars you can get that are so much more fun, and not just that, but more fuel efficient. Granted, you have to look at the battery versus, what you're looking at a Prius, and a lot of people were tired of Priuses as well, so pick your poison. This is definitely more comfortable, more substantial, and for people who like that and like to be on electricity more than depending solely on fossil fuel, this might be the car for you. So, my recommendations, I wouldn't go for this car, but I can definitely see why a person would go for this car. It's comfortable, it's fuel efficient. If you're just commuting to work, it's perfect. All you have to do is charge it back up when you're done. Thank you all for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.